up in the womb of my mind, the womb of my heart, and the womb of my sacred seat. Bless my words, that they can speak justice and peace. Bless my hands to heal my community and my feet to continue to walk the path of the ancestors. Ashe. I am a sacred woman, filled with the spirit of the Most High Supreme. I am a sacred woman, full of love and grace. I am a sacred woman, pure in state. I am a sacred woman, spreading healing across the land. I am a sacred woman, radiant and bright. I am a sacred woman, bringing forth the light. I am a sacred woman, moved only in the spirit. I am a sacred woman, standing tall and strong. I am a sacred woman, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am a sacred woman working magic from my kitchen healing laboratory. I am a sacred woman, a natural beauty in all ways. I am a sacred woman holding no malice for man or woman. I am a sacred woman empowered with freedom and harmony. I am a sacred woman working skillfully with nature's four elements, calling air, fire, water, earth. Come, journey with me as we work, restoring harmony upon the earth.
Reawaken. Repeat this prayer with me as you open up your palms to divinity or gently place them over your heart beside it. Sacred Spirit, hold me near, close to your bosom. Protect me from all harm and fear beneath the stones of life. Direct my steps in the right way as I journey through this vision. Sacred Spirit, surround me in your most absolute perfect light. Anoint me in your sacred purity, peace, and divine insight. Bless me, truly bless me, as I share this sacred light. Teach me, Sacred Spirit, to be in tune with the universe, how to heal with the inner and outer elements of air, fire, water, and earth.
Welcome to the Sacred Sisters Circle. I'm your host, Sacred Woman Practitioner Tatami, and today we are finishing up Gateway 1, Sacred Words. I know that the journey has so far seemed, perhaps a little unapplicable in a lot of ways. There's been a lot of knowledge that we've been piling on lately. Let me turn off my heater. There's been a lot of knowledge that we've just been kind of piling on lately. But with these next few gateways, these gateways, it's about now trying to really actively apply them in our lives. And I think that a lot of people, when they reach gateways 1 and 2, often stop doing the gateways altogether. Gateway 1 being the words and gateway 2 being food. But don't leave. Don't worry about it. Stick with us. I'm going to try and make it so that it's, something that we can all continue to understand and apply to ourselves. And of course, you don't want to skip over this part, because if you do really well with the food, then when we do sacred movement, you'll find yourself able to, really take your sacred movement to another level. So speaking of sacred movement, since today is the last day of the month that we will be meeting, in our last day of the gateway, we're going to be doing some freestyling womb dance, just feeling the music, feeling yourself, and really focusing on moving your body fast or slow. It's going to be entirely up to you, and entirely, up to just how you interpret the music. The thing I really like doing this part is because I think it's important for us to focus on the freestyle aspect of it. I know choreography is super popular nowadays, and if you know a couple moves, it can seem like you know what you're doing, but you don't really know what you're doing, do you? You know what I mean? It's not really inherent deep within you. It's not the same as even our ancestors. There would be a step, but then it would be a very basic step, and people would build off of it. And there are situations where choreography and planning everything out makes sense. But in this situation, I think connecting with that ancestral concept of if you can walk, you can dance, and that really taking off the pressure of needing to be a professional or needing to be the best. I'm not the best dancer, if you haven't noticed. But the thing is it's about really just feeling the music, feeling your body, feeling your womb, learning how to connect with yourself, and not feeling pressured like a professional, feeling like somebody who is just, expressing the joy of living, of breathing, of being able to move, of waking up on a beautiful Monday morning, and just wanting to connect with the ancestors. So that's the energy that we go for on this day. And so without, going on too much, I did want to say the affirmations that I read earlier when I just opened just now was on page 148. Those are sacred word affirmations on page 148 of Gateway 1. And today we're going to be talking about the 7-day challenge, which is also at the end of that gateway. The gateway chapters, they do get shorter, but they also, I got some stuff planned for us, so we'll be all right. So yeah, if you have, your motte wings or your fan veils, or I don't know, castanets or something, you got a drum, if you just feeling like you're like me, you got some coins or something, you just want to move with just your body, you're naked right now, you're in your house, I don't know, whatever you're doing, enjoy, and really take these next 10-15 minutes to really connect with your body, connect with your womb. I'm probably going to smoke a chalk before I start dancing, but I'll turn on the music right now and we can finish the sacred woman song first. Then I'll be playing Fatumata Diawara. I'll put her name in the description after I'm done so that you guys can find her, because if you haven't been following me for the last year, then she's one of my favorites. This CD is one of my favorites, or album, I guess you call them now. I don't know why I still call things CDs. But this album is, one of my favorites. It's African folk music. And yeah, I mean, you can learn more about her, if you look her up. Okay. Beneath the storms of life, direct my steps in the right way as I journey through this vision. Sacred spirit,
surround me in your most absolute perfect love. Anoint me in your sacred purity and divine insight. Bless me, truly bless me as I share the sacred light. Teach me sacred spirit to be how to heal worthy inner and outer and outer and outer and outer elements of
Alright, I thought it would be nice to have that slow beginning at least. Isn't she wonderful? All right, I hope you have water. I should have said that. I'm already tired, you guys. I'm gonna last for one more song, y'all. And then we'll start our sister circle. Okay. I think that was 15 minutes. Let's put on some relaxing music. My goodness, sorry guys. I'm like talking to my kids, and I was like, that is very loud music. And of course, only that song. Okay. We pour in honor of Sankofa, and we answer with Ashe. Ancestors, assist us in speaking Hekawu, words of power. May our words be anointed. May our words not damage a soul. Ancestors, help us to speak words that heal, words that empower, words that build, words that transform. Help us guard our words so no venom passes our lips and no destruction results from our speech. Rather, may our words impart light to souls who are seeking your face. If our words show us to be out of divine right order, may our mind and mouth be cleansed. Help us to not speak words that break down the divine in us or in our sisters or brothers, our mate, our children, our elders, or our ancestors. Ancestors, please place words upon our lips that make our voice disperse sacred medicine. May our words be lotus blossoms that encourage all the souls we meet to reach for greater heights. May our words speak with your breath, sing your sweet song of life. Because of the words and the evolved tones that we utter, may goodness follow us all the days of our lives. We'll now take a moment before I pour to call by name any ancestors that we would like to join us today in this circle, as well as on our journey in general, as we work to connect ancestrally, traditionally, as well as bring our modern approach and our new knowledge to what our ancestors knew. Ashe. I am a sacred woman. 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 We're now going to do our fire breaths, which are 200 we're doing right now. But if it's too much for you, please stop and just do some steady, regular breathing. Our posture is straight. Our rib cage is lifted so that our lungs can fill with air and get all this oxygen flowing to our mind, get our mind all light and open and receptive to the spirit realm and the ancestors. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. Remember, before we start, but remember, when we're rapid breathing, when you breathe in, your stomach should go out. When you breathe out, your stomach should go in. All right, let's do slow breathing 3 times. All right, so this is the last week or month, I guess, where it's going to be pretty cool to coast, I guess I would call it, of only doing fire breathing when we meet every week. After 200 fire breaths, I think you're really pushing it if you don't practice any other time throughout the week. I would say like 2 to 3 times a week, practicing the set amount for the month will really get you feeling, capable of keeping up. And, that's enough practice. Like, I think more would be better, like daily, if, you're at your altar or whatever, just fire breathing, even just, not as many, but like half on some of the occasions or something, just practicing it other than on Mondays. Because once we start getting up to like 300, 400, 900, it's gonna get real. Okay, it's gonna get real. So, the prayer I read earlier was on page 145, and we're here on. Oh wait, yeah, we're on page 154, but I need to make sure I do a few things. First, I was so disappointed in myself after. Let me take my hair down. It's all flopping on the side and feeling funky. All right. I was so disappointed in myself because last week we were talking about like the dietary practices and stuff, and I totally skipped over the 42 law studies and the Adinkra studies, which aligned so perfectly with our conversation. So I'm like, there's like no excuse, you guys. There's no excuse. I don't know why sometimes I just forget to do things. I was disappointed in myself. All right, but it's okay because we're here, and I'm going to go back and read those first. And I thought that they were both so appropriate for last week, but of course also this week when we're talking more about sacred words, utilizing our words correctly, and speaking with purpose. So here I am. Let's see. This one's fun. I like this one. This song. I have all these like free, like I said, those free rap instrumentals. Those things are so funny to me. People will be like straight up in the comments writing flows, like upvoting each other. Oh, it's funny. I like it. It's like, little pockets of internet culture that you bump into sometimes that you're just like, oh, you guys. Y'all want to be Drake, Okay. Oh, I don't know why I'm like shuffling it. I'm like shuffling just normally how I'm supposed to be looking for cards, and I'm just shuffling along because it's out of habit. All right, so I need to be looking for this one that I'm about to find. Means nurturing discipline, which I thought was a wonderful thought for our studies, because all of it is a level of discipline, and that's kind of one of the muscles we're building, not just spiritual muscle, but our discipline muscle, which I think a lot of people, myself included, which is why I'm here as well, is like we struggle with discipline, or like we'll discipline ourselves for other people, for like our jobs, or like for the expectations society has or someone else in the family has. But sometimes, like, we are not disciplined for ourselves, for the things that would make our lives easier, for the things that would benefit us. And that's, I think, a true tragedy. That's why I'm here. That's like, the part of this is, I feel like was failing other people. That was a lot of why I bought the Sacred Woman book, because I felt like my, abuse was affecting my husband, was affecting, how I reacted to things in real time. And, I was thinking a lot about other people at that time. I was thinking about other people like a lot at that time. So, I'm glad that I've been able to, I mean, that is what this book basically is about, is addressing it for you, and, that discipline for you. And that is how I, switch that mindset, which is, why it's so sad to me when, like, I see people who read this book, but they're in this total mindset of, like, servitude, or, like, not really, able to embrace that part that is about the discipline for the discipline's sake, the part where you're just doing it for your own personal pleasure. You're, like, things like dressing up around the house, or dressing up. I like, I love to dress up when I clean the house, and it makes it feel like a beautiful event. It makes me feel good in my house. When I'm just sitting around in here, I also dress up too, because, or like, I try to, unless I'm, like, feeling ill, which, happens. But, I like to dress up around the house, even though no one's going to see, and no one's going to, be a witness. It's part of it is about, doing it for yourself. All right, so let me see if I can find the second card that we're supposed to use today. Yeah, I knew I saw it at the beginning. I was like, I recognize that word. My kids, y'all. You'd think they weren't out and, like, eating pancakes earlier. They get so grumpy with each other sometimes. But my daughter, she doesn't listen. He gets very frustrated. All right, so let me go first check on this child and see why he is calling his own name to his sister. Right. So our first Adinkra card, this was for last week when we were talking about the dietary practices. This was a cocoa name, leg of a hen. The hen treads on her chicks, but she does not kill them. A cocoa name. Now, let me see. Forgot to take out my book. This means nurturing discipline. There is a need to assert boundaries in a firm but nurturing way. It's about being both protective and corrective. That's the ideal goal of a parent. Learn to apply this skill to many aspects of your life and your relationships. This is a reminder to teach others how to treat you, enforce now and reap the rewards later, and to lead by example. And So this cards are the Adinkra at adinkraliving.com. They're just like they're Adinkra cards. I our 42 laws that we had for last week. Remember, we look at the 42 laws because they are a moral code. They're it's like a standard of living, a standard of being as a human. And so we say to ourselves, "I will not waste food," and we embody that, right? We try and embody it into our living. We think about that one. Each week we go over one so that we can ruminate over it, study it, think about it, and try and apply it to our everyday lives. So this week was last week was I will not waste food. And I think that's a really good reminder to have when we're trying to have this transitional diet. It's good to not go too overboard when you're like trying to do new things. I mean, unless you're doing really well with that or something. I don't know. If you're like, I've just been putting it all in a salad and eating it, all the power to you. But if you're somebody who you're like, I notoriously will buy out, like fill up my fridge with all this crazy stuff, and then, I throw away most of it, it's best to, I think looking up fridge organization, really figuring out the best ways to organize in the fridge. Because when your fridge is super organized and you can really see everything that's in it, I know, what's her name? Lisa Marie Goodson has a couple videos where she shows her fridge. And I mean, y'all, like she opens up her fridge and it's like, there's like a platter in there with like a pitcher with like lemons and 2 cups chilling, waiting to be poured. And like everything is, organized, and it's a very inviting space. And, when you look up, I know on Instagram, like now I've been seeing recently, I don't know if there's like a particular hashtag that we could find that, people use. But people will have, their zero waste fridges, and, their no waste fridges, their organized fridges, and raw vegan fridges. And those are very inspirational as well. I mean, sometimes the raw vegan ones, not so much, because they'll just stuff a bunch of random vegetables in there. And it's like, okay, it looks beautiful, but this is like a commercial. It's not realistic. But, a lot of the people who do minimalism, zero waste, that type of thing, they're more on the functional side, you know what I mean? They're trying to actually, make their living space as usable, as purposeful as possible. And so I think, looking for that for organization of your kitchen space will really help with that. I also think practicing specific recipes and then making them bulk and trying to portion that out throughout the week helps a lot of people. Knowing what you're going to make, or having a general idea, or, every day of the week you have a different plan for what you make. That type of thing really helps when you're trying to cut back on how much food waste you do. And then also, like trying to cook at home, getting better at cooking, that sort of thing. Let me see. We have our next week. Now we're on to this week. I think they're trying to say mom, but I'm not sure. So the card for this week, the Adinkra symbol we have is called Anansi Antuntan, the spider's web. Anansi Antuntan, a symbol of wisdom, creativity, the complexities of life. Anansi is a well-known character in West African folklore. He's described as the messenger of the supreme being. He also bears the title of chief prankster. I don't know if you guys ever heard those stories about Anansi the spider when you were a kid. I think probably everyone has. I don't know how everyone has. I don't know why I'm saying that. I remember I had a book though. I definitely had a really cool little book when I was a kid. I remember that. All right, so let's see. Where did I put it? I'm a mess, y'all. Oh, it's right here. Good. Okay. So wisdom, creativity, complexities of life. What a tangled web we weave. You have tied yourself in knots around a situation or lost sight of purpose or end of goal. So you could use creativity and imagination with good judgment to release yourself from the situation. This symbol means, being cunning, releasing yourself, and don't overcomplicate matters. All right, so I thought that was a really good idea. Just to this symbol for this week was a really good idea because it reminds us to think like a root worker, think with cunning and being able to think on our feet. That type of thing, practicing that, and also practicing your intuition so that you can follow your gut feeling and stick with it later, that type of thing, and not suffer the consequences of not. And then when you know how to do it, when it's like just a basic thing, then you can trust yourself more when it's a big thing. So all right. Oh wait, and then our law for today was I will not lie. I will not lie. I think that this is a really good policy, especially in today's day and age. I think a lot of people feel really pressured to lie. They feel really pressured to present themselves, in certain ways. And I think, I've fallen for that in some ways too. Like, I definitely have never posted a picture that was just like, this is me looking bizarre. Like, I'm just like, why would I even keep that picture? Why would I want to remember it? I don't know. Like, I have some strange pictures for like, family, but there's, I think a lot of us feel pressured to not only not reveal the worst parts of us, which I think is normal, and I don't see why people would always feel compelled to, share trauma and share, issues, especially when you share issues on social media. People drag you anyways. They'll be like, why is this on social media? Why are you presenting your worst days? Like, this is personal. And so you don't even get the reception you'd think, like, because people are always like, why is everybody always like trying to look perfect in every picture? I'm like, what's the alternative? Or like, what do you want from people? I think that's okay, but then there's this line that gets crossed where you're lying, right? Where you're like no longer being honest. You've been doing crazy stuff behind the scenes. You're doing, I think that covert level of dishonesty, because I think especially when it's your like social media, or when it's your community, your job, your school, wherever it is that you're trying to connect with other people, when you start lying, y'all, you have to keep that up forever. Okay, that takes it out of you. That is a drain of energy. There's really, there's occasional, times, I guess I always say this, like, there's occasional times when you can, like, talk your way out of the law. But I mean, like, for the most part, I mean, like, you can think of convoluted reasons to get your way out of the particular law and be like, actually, it would be moral to do a lie in that situation. But for the most part, you're just, weaving energy of dishonesty. You're making it so that, we've last year we did cord cutting from our womb. We sat there out in the sunshine and just mentally, emotionally, spiritually cut cord with everybody, everything, just for a moment. You know what I mean? Even things that we were going to connect with 2 hours from now, 10 minutes from now, just disconnect from everything. But when you're lying to people and you have this like story you have to upkeep with people, you're connected to them. You have to keep being connected to them. You have to keep experiencing that connection and not forgetting it, lest you be caught up and called a liar. It's just, ultimately, it's not worth it. It's immoral, and it's a disservice to yourself. So that is the law for today. I will not lie. And we are all caught up. So we will just continue on next week. Hopefully I will get us backed up again. All right. So I have here this little book of meditations. This is supposed to be nighttime meditations, but basically there is a little collection of, quotes, as well as just the author's thoughts. And we have a little affirmation at the bottom. So I went to today and looked. This quote is by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I think this whole piece kind of speaks also to the process of this journey. It's gonna, like some of these gateways are gonna feel harder than others. Sometimes you're gonna get through the week and you're gonna be like, whoa, dude, like I just spent the whole week cussing or whatever, like I did terrible. And it's going to, feel really but we have to continue, and that's what today's message was really about. So the quote above, Ursula K. Le Guin: love doesn't just sit there like a stone. It has to be made like bread, remade all the time, made new. And I really like that, it's like you make it and then it's bread, you make it and then it's like warm and it's wonderful, and you have to like consume it and enjoy it for what it is when it's happening, which is right now, right? You can't like freeze the moment of that fresh bread right out of the oven. It's there and you take it how it is and you enjoy it or you leave it, but it has to be remade. It has to be have that energy put into it. Making bread is like super hard. That's why everybody buys their bread, because that even 2-minute knead bread or like no knead bread, people feel intimidated and like it's a lot, like I don't know if I want to do all this, because it's a process that you have to put some energy into it. And that's why a lot of people have such good memories of like their mom or whoever was at home cooking bread, filling up the house with that beautiful scent, is because it does represent love for a lot of people. So I think for our journey too, we can apply this concept of constantly having to put in that energy, to put in that labor, to receive those little blessings and to receive that growth within ourselves that inspires us to, keep going and fills us and nourishes us and, allows us to move on to the next day and the next loaf. In the first phases of a relationship, everything is new and exciting. It seems as though nothing could ever go wrong. Yet, as we move out of this honeymoon phase of the relationship, problems begin. Suddenly, we notice things about the other person that bother us. We seem to have more disagreements, more difficulties that take longer to solve. We may even silently choose corners, put up walls, back away from each other. It's easy at this stage to want to end the relationship. But now is when the outcome of the relationship is most critical. If we run away from renewing our love and rebuilding the foundations of trust and faith in each other, we will deprive our love of its nourishment for growth. Love takes constant work and needs plenty of patience. Each day reveals a new layer of love. Each stage in a relationship moves us to a new plateau, but only if we are willing. So in this situation, obviously, this could apply to a partner. But when I was reading it, I also felt like it could apply to your relationships with your life, your relationship with yourself. And myself, especially, I would say I felt like, oh, wow. Like, it's like you start off with your journey of like womb healing or self healing, self spiritual connection, ancestral reconnection, all this stuff. And you're super gung ho and you're like feeling yourself. And then it's like you kind of hit a point where you're like, oh, I don't really like know what I'm doing. I feel so lost. I don't really, I don't like how my voice sounds when I pray. I don't like how that turns out. I splashed that oil all over myself. Nothing happened. I mean, like you're starting to get to those points where you're feeling discouraged. I cussed all week when I said I was gonna be, having a silent fast, and my only silent fast was when I like shut the fuck up and went to sleep. And like, I fucked up all week. You know what I mean? And that's when you take a bath and you remember like this is not where you give up. This is where you buckle down and you commit. And here she's more talking about a marriage, perhaps. Marriage is a serious commitment. It's not really something that most people walk away from. Most people, that's what you're supposed to do, is even after the honeymoon phase, even after it gets hard, you're supposed to both buckle down and be like, all right, well, maybe we should have discussed this before, but how do we move on from here to commit to this further? So we can still apply that to serious, level to ourselves. We are bonded to ourselves, to our body, to our situation, or our ability to get out of that situation, or what it is we want. So there is an element of needing to be serious and dedicated and disciplined to ourselves, to continue the journey and make sure we're not dropping out. We're not, especially next month, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna get real, and it's gonna get serious. Okay, with just make sure I'm gonna emphasize this again. March, for sacred foods, you'll need a blender. You need a blender. It's all you need, but it's what you need. Like, even with the food processor, you can skip kind of, because you can still make dips and stuff in a blender. Usually, if you make it like watery enough, you can make, you can dice something up real tiny, best you can, while you wait another month for a food processor. But the blender, I mean, we need our blender. So, I'm about to actually get a blender because like I said, I moved into this community home, but it has a lot of stuff, but the blenders do not work. So, there we have it. So where are we? Oh, we have our little mantra at the bottom. And she says, I can look at my relationships and see the potential for growth. Help me renew my feelings of love through faith. So I think that was such a beautiful thing. I'll read it again. I can look at my relationships and see the potential for growth. I can look at my journey. He is falling apart. I think she probably stole. I gave him a pancake. All right, so then it said, help me renew my feelings of love through faith. So yeah, anyway, I think that's a very beautiful affirmation as well that you could write in, your womb journal, or, put somewhere up on like the wall or something. Let's see. So we're on page 154, Sacred Words, 7-Day Transformative Work. Identify and write down words or phrases that block you from your blessings. That is a page of your womb journal. Hopefully you have it. How frequently or infrequently do you think or speak them? Toxic words and ambitions can set you up for a painful, non-productive life. So that this also applies to, when I'm like, I did terrible all week and I didn't even do well until Friday. I think objectively that probably isn't really true. And I was being especially hard on myself because I'm trying to make a lot of progress in a short amount of time. I feel like I want to make this progress with the sister circle as well, especially because I'm trying to host the sister circle. Not trying to, because I am hosting the sister circle. So, there's I feel like I have that pressure. So, making sure that I also speak nicely to myself even when I mess up. And we make sure we all do that as well. Identifying when we have toxic thoughts throughout this week. This is part of why I named this circle, I speak with purpose. This is about not only thinking, let me think about it, but before I speak, but also after I've spoken, reevaluating what I've said, reevaluating how I'm even just having personal conversation with myself. Identify and make 2 lists in your journal. One for words or phrases that disempower you, and another for words or phrases that empower you. How frequently or infrequently do you think them or speak them? Observe how your use of words has created the present and past conditions of your life. Affect and direct your life in a more productive way by practicing power words. By observation and reflection homework, you will get a clearer picture of why your life is in its current state. You will witness how you have created a lot of your world with each word you have spoken or unspoken. So your what you have spoken, what you've thought, and also what you have not spoken, what you have not thought. Focusing on those, changing your mindset, and so that you're not constantly just churning negativity. And this also helps when you're in your center as well. Just making sure you're not constantly degrading yourself, making sure you're not disempowering yourself, holding yourself back, especially. And that also goes for, people in your family and others. So we have Kefiratize your words. Kefira is Kemetic for transformation. Instead of I'm sick, say I'm detoxing. Instead of I hate my job, say I am seeking other employment. Instead of I'm trying, say I'm doing. Instead of I can't, say I can. Instead of I don't have, we still say I have all that I need. Instead of saying I hate her or him, say I accept how she or he behaves, even if I do not agree with their behavior. And that means that, when you don't agree with someone's behavior, right, you're not condoning the behavior, you're not indulging it, endorsing it, or anything of that nature. Be careful not to make yourself or others ill through your choice of words. When you transform and restore the healing power of your words, you will transform and restore harmony in your life. Experiment with other ways to purify your words. Perform a toxic word fast and avoid gossip, backstabbing, and empty, wasteful words spoken to self and others. Fill your mind with divine thoughts by reading spiritually charged healing material. Highlight the most healing words as you see them. Read those sacred texts that, you've been having on your shelf that you've never really perused any further. Maybe one of those texts that I've uploaded, perhaps you can print off a few chapters at a time, or, just use them, have them on your screen and write down a list of those words as as you go through. Just can be one word or it could be a quick phrase. Try and keep it short so you're not, devoting too much time to that. But if you have a book, I think it's much easier. And especially if you have books already. Commune with individuals who speak from the heights. Talk with or listen to elders, leaders, the ancestors, pray, meditate. Commune with people also who are where you're trying to be. Even if the communing isn't like you can't talk with all those people, try and, glean information from them. Spend time, studying under what they've said, or watching their videos, or putting in that time and effort to really devote to yourself. If you must watch TV or videos, make the viewing filled with food for your soul at all costs. Avoid violent, aggressive TV this week. TV that feeds poisonous thoughts, forms, and expressions. So nothing too gory this week, nothing too scary. Trying, even staying away from, documentaries, I guess, that are too depressing. Try and find the material that feels like it is really feeding your soul. Maybe that is an actual cooking show, but that could also be, a spiritual show. It can be a video, it can be some certain type of music. There are so many little options that you can choose to, fill your mind with instead of those other things, at least for just a week. What am I? Thing is making little noises. All right. Eat live, organic, vegetarian foods that feed the mind. This is the food that's going into your mouth. And remember that, your mouth, your teeth affect everything. This is also, I want to take the time to talk about teeth. I made a post about this last year, but I think it's so vitally important. And, she doesn't talk about it too much, but I do think that, the effect of having teeth and like a dirty mouth, and like you're feeding it with all of these like carb processed foods, these like GMO foods or whatever, it does also have an effect on your words, when you're eating sweet things, drinking sweet things, eating a rich, robust vegetable type of things, and really filling yourself up with nutrient dense foods through the mouth. That helps with your words being a little bit better, and able to speak that healing, because you're eating that healing, you're consuming that healing within yourself. Avoid sugar in all its forms unless it's natural sugar from fruits. Sugar deteriorates and eats the brain tissue like lye, and so it deforms your words over time. Drink 2 quarts of water daily to help flush negative thoughts out of your system and energy fields. Daily for the next 7 days, flush out the old impacted waste and gases from your colon with your enemas, the herbal laxatives, okra, flaxseed. I got my okra in the fridge, or freshly prepared apple juice. If you have a clean colon, you have a clean mind that expresses itself by speaking sacred words. So try and detox yourself this week. Try and commit to having those several days of clean eating. And I would say starting today, try and drink those 2 quarts, and transition to, not eating those foods today as best as you can. And then, I'm like dying on you guys. I'm gonna have to like hold you maybe here. Oh. Okay. Oh no. What is going on? Okay. My phone is doing the most. Okay. So, where was it? Oh yeah. So, we'll start today with like trying to, like, I don't know if you had some sort of meal plan today, but starting tomorrow, really focus on drinking the water, eating the right. Also be a part of this week's challenge. Avoid intoxications. So we're going to be avoiding drugs, alcohol, sugar, table salt, flesh, and fast food. So I will stop smoking today, and we're all not drinking. We're gonna keep what we consume with our mouths 100% health, 100% wellness, and healing. We have, remember, your words are like Hesi, sacred chants. The words you choose dictates the condition of your soul. Transform your life by speaking spiritually charged words. So we're going to choose wisely. Write 9 empowering affirmations in your journal that will help you build your new lifestyle specifically. Speak these words of power every day in silence and out loud, and see how your life begins to heal and improve. Also, be aware of your quiet thoughts. They too are words. Remember, unspoken does not mean not heard, by yourself. Be observant of how your friends or associates talk about you. There we go. As you reevaluate your world of words, decide whether you should continue the relationship, limit it, or eliminate it. Are the words spoken about you defeating you or strengthening you, losing you or improving you and empowering you? Okay, you guys, hold on. I'll be back. We're going to wrap this up. We only have a couple paragraphs to go. Let's see. Words can are how your friends or associates talk about you. As you reevaluate your world of words. Oh, sorry, I forgot you guys weren't over there. As you reevaluate your world of words, you should decide whether you should continue the relationship, limit it, or eliminate it according to how you hear them speaking about you. Are the words spoken about you defeating you, strengthening you, losing you, improving, or empowering you? Words can soothe or hurt. What about the words you speak to your associates, family, or friends? What are your words doing to them? What are their words doing to you? Wash your words the way you wash your walls and your floors. Scrub your words until they are clean, each and every one of them. Make them sacred. If someone is cursing you or you are cursing another, then you need to change your existence by cleaning your own word house and the way you have responded in the past. So this is again, focusing on who you have in your life, even down to, social media and other smaller avenues that don't seem as big. But scrubbing your own words, addressing your own words, making your own words sacred, focusing on this for the next week. To master your words, work with the following tools: your tape recorder. Develop a golden tongue by recording your speaking voice. Read poetry this week. Speak your feelings out on an issue that you're passionate about. Put some of those on a pieces of paper, pull it out, and just start speaking and record yourself, only your voice, and replay that back to yourself. Read the poem, read a script or something like that. Play this tape back, listen to yourself with conscious mind, so you can begin to purify your words, modulate your tone, listen to your nuances, practice. Then there's also the video camera. We also speak with our bodies, so it's wise to study yourself on video and how we communicate with others. Observe how you speak, how you move. It gives you a full picture of your communication gifts and blockages. Be sure to include others in your video presentation so you can witness how the world is viewing you and interacting with you. Be up for change. Create your video presentation on day 1 of the Gateway 1 and then again on day 7. Compare the results. So day 1 of this, let's do that today. Make a video of yourself, talking, dancing, whatever. Or not talking, dancing, sorry. Talking, praying or poetry, whatever, and then you'll be able to really get a hold of your own body language, your own, voice. Then spend the week concentrating, and then on next Monday or, Sunday, however you feel, you can take another video and take another look at yourself and see how you've been doing. Let's see. Honor yourself as an African being. Charge yourself culturally and spiritually by studying your ancient African Nile Valley language, Metu Inter, or whatever language it is, an indigenous traditional language from one of your cultures that you feel especially connected to. Experience the healing and the high consciousness of our ancestors and their use of words. Throughout Sacred Woman, I will share with you some ancient power words for your ascension. Use them often to strengthen yourself as you grow through each gateways. So learn a couple words from another language that is of your heritage. So it's like, use what you know. If you don't even have any information, you can just be like, I know, this is what my mom looked like. I know most Black people who are from this part of town use this, are from, they were taken from this part of Africa. I know I'm, Afro-Latina and I'm from this part, so I'm going to learn, this language. So whether it's, Swahili, Nahua, the Metu Inter, however it is that you're connecting with your ancestors, find a language and learn maybe 3 to 9 words. Just, a couple of power words to start including in your everyday practice as a root worker, as somebody praying or venerating, and be able to use those words as power words, as hekawu, and using the words of the ancestors. So that is also what we're doing this week, finding, the language and learning a couple words and how to pronounce them out loud. Slow down your life enough to observe and record your words these next 7 days. Begin your word surgery as you diligently correct what you say and think. All words have the power to break down or recreate. With the right words backed up with a pure heart and correct intentions, you can start a new world order of divinity. It's all in the word. Make it your mission to choose sacred words to create a sacred life. So my advice this week is to speak slow, speak steady, speak sure, and to find a rhythm that's your own, that you can really speak with, that allows you to speak with that slowness, but also, know what you're saying. And so that's what I'm going to be practicing this week. I think another way to help practice with your rhythm of speech is definitely poetry again. So, whatever it is you choose to read out loud or practice or say out loud, make sure you take your video today and then take another video on Sunday after you've been, rigorously trying to apply the concepts of sacred word and your words and your speech, and, using silence as well for sacred word challenge for this week, the 7-day challenge. All right. Are we done? No, there's a little bit more here. As you continue to purify your life daily through sacred words, thoughts and deeds on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual plane, the words coming out of your mouth and back to you will be healing. You will speak sacred words to sacred souls. Perform a talk fast over the next 7 days. Speak only when necessary. Watch each word you speak. Take hours. Oh, are you still there? Oh.